Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tuesday, May 12th edition of yours truly, Pete's Power Plays, hosted by the one, the only, King of the Ice himself, Philly Pete, and we are live on 12 Ounce Sports and Zingo TV. This show, as usual, is sponsored by MyBookie. Sorry about that. Basically, if you're looking to freshen up, you're looking for this. I'm sorry. Live sports may feel on hold to you right now, but that's not the case with MyBookie. They got a ton of action for you to get in on the fun over at mybookie.ag. Whether esports or overseas, baseball is your thing. They've got you covered when you use the promo code 12 Ounce Sports when making a deposit. They'll match your first deposit up to $1,000. Don't feel like watching baseball at 2 o'clock in the morning? Heck, I know I don't. MyBookie has you covered with an online casino to scratch that itch. Go to mybookie.ag, that's mybookie.ag, and use the promo code 12 Ounce Sports. That's 12OZ Sports, all one word, today for free money when making your first deposit. Also, if you're looking to freshen up your look for the summer, which is right around the corner, you have to check out 12 Ounce Sports' new line of clothing. We got everything from shirts, sweaters, beach towels, phone cases, and much, much more. Find the store online today at 12ozsportsradio.com under the Our Store tab. There, you'll find a wide variety of clothing items, colors, and sizes that will suit your style. That's 12ozsportsradio.com under the Our Store tab. I highly recommend every one of you out there that's tuning in to check out the store right now. Also, Seat Giant, again, once we do have fans coming back to watch our teams that we love, make sure to get the first row of the first row when using Seat Giant. Highly recommend it. And last but not least, Zingo TV. When signing up for an account for Zingo TV, make sure you use the promo code 12 Ounce 12OZ, all one word. And from there, you can be streaming live all of these phenomenal and amazing shows that we have on the 12 Ounce Sports Network crew that we can provide to you during this pandemic. So everything and anything that we can get you through today, none other than checking out on 12 Ounce Sports. But make sure you use the 12 Ounce Sports 12 Ounce promo code on Zingo TV, and you can be streaming live today. So last week we had a lot to talk about. This week I have a loaded card for the entire week. Today is going to be a loaded day today. I have about 7 topics I want to get involved with for the week, involving the NHL Stanley Cup odds and news, the NFL schedule, Philly Pete's NFL Fantasy Mock Draft 1.0. I know all you guys and ladies out there that do fantasy football are looking forward to this. I've been getting tons and tons of feedback in regards to this. WWE Money in the Bank results, AEW Dynamite talk, and AEW Dark talk, The Last Dance, episodes 7 and 8 in review, and then we're going to talk about Ozark, season 3 in review. So today, it's going to be a loaded card. Today I want to talk about the basically AEW Dark and tomorrow's show. Also, the review of Money in the Bank, the results of WWE Money in the Bank, and I'm going to start the day off with Last Dance, episodes 7 and 8. So 3 huge topics to talk about today. Tomorrow I want to talk about the NFL schedule, the Eagles outlook, and the whole NFC East. And I'm going to do what everyone has been anticipating for, my Philly Pete's NFL mock draft for fantasy football version 1.0. And a lot to digest come tomorrow. And then Thursday, I want to talk about Ozark Season 3, and then the NHL Stanley Cup odds and much more in the news of the NHL. Gina will be on for the second segment of this show today, as well as on Thursday to discuss Ozark. So let's get into it right now. Like I said, we have a lot to talk about. So The Last Dance, 7 and 8 episodes that basically brought everyone to tears. This was a very emotional couple episodes here. You go from tragedy to baseball, and then the cost of being Michael Jordan himself. So we discussed the untimely death of his father. Basically rocks Jordan to his core. You know, the legend of Michael's father, the hero, bringing to Michael the man he was today. it just basically took a portion out of his core and prompting his shocking exit from basketball in 1993 to play baseball for the Chicago White Sox. So, listen, like I said, 7 and 8 of Last Dance. There has been tears, a lot of free falling, flow of crying, I should say. The shocking loss of Jordan's father obviously took a toll for Jordan, big time, big time. Ahmad Rashad, also a friend of his, wells up the memory of tying Jordan, basically Jordan for him in the day of the funeral. Members of the '94 Bulls team. This was when Jordan was not on the Bulls. His airness dabbled in professional baseball. They recall a tearful post-game speech by Bill Cartwright, who also played a great part for the Bulls teams back in the day. And even Jordan's personal trainer was crying while speaking about his number one client's intense dedication to his job. So, but perhaps the most surprising that there are tears from Jordan as he responds to basically the criticism during his playing days, particularly that he wasn't a nice guy. Tough to imagine this display of emotion in the marker of regret, basically. But it just seems like the tears and the crying are just a sublimation of all of his playing days, basically. A frustration that no one will ever know. But again, to this day, no one will truly understand what it takes to dominate a game like Jordan did and the teams that he led. So the episodes obviously are very, very poignant and a lot of adrenaline rushing for sure. But it comes as a mirror of Jordan that we've seen yet in the series. So, like I said, basically in all documentaries, all shows, the first half of the shows are kind of like you're getting involved with everybody, seeing how people are doing. You're getting introduced to everybody. The second half of documentaries, TV shows, even movies, you get into the dark side of things, and everything truly comes out in the last half of seasons and documentaries. So here we are. We're getting faced to the back end of this documentary, the second half, I should say. And, it comes more of a reflective Jordan that we've seen yet in the series. He watches footage of the glove himself, Gary Payton, declaring that he got under Michael Jordan's skin in the 1996 NBA Finals. For Michael Jordan today, it's the Jordan of old and is never far behind. So, basically, he was his rock. He was his rock. Like I said, episodes 7 and 8, we go into James Jordan, Michael's father. He attended every Bulls game for Michael, a.k.a. we know him as Pops, a fixture in the hallways of Chicago's United Centers. He plucked kids from the nosebleed seats to come meet his son after games. He was by Michael's side after each championship victory. And, it's basically, if you knew Michael, you knew James. You know James Jordan. And they were always together, like father, like son. They were best friends. I mean, I think every man that tunes into this show and son out there can respect their fathers. And that's how I am. My dad is my best friend. And, I looked at him as my hero. And I always will, because that's my father. He brought me into this world with my mother. And I always look to this day at my father as my hero. And I always will. And nothing will ever change that. So they were obviously best friends, very close friends. Nothing will ever change a father and a son relationship. And I will always stand by that to this day and for the rest of my life. But, he showed him discipline. He showed him discipline from an early age. A mindset that clearly extended through Michael's adult life. That was Jordan's rock. James was the rock of Michael. We know that. We all knew that. Even through adolescence, MJ earned three suspensions in 9th grade, and his father gave him the ultimatum that summer. You're doing mischievous stuff. You're not a bad boy. Like, you're not a bad kid. I didn't grow you up like this. Like every mentor of a father says to their son. Your father wants to make you the best person. Hell, they even want to make you better than them. My father, when I was in college, like I said, he always basically pushed me. I was away at college. I was at Penn State. I was 4 hours away from home, I would talk to my father every day, and he would be making sure that I was on top of my studies and making sure I don't screw up. Because listen, first year of college, first semester, of course you want to party. That's the way you want to go. But you know, that's why you have a great father. They push you, and that's where I am today. A happy son, and truly making him proud of who I am today. So, but basically, he never got in trouble from that day on. His father basically put him on the spot and made sure that he was heading into the right direction when he grew up. So, but basically, having clinched his three-peat a few weeks earlier, Jordan was exhausted. The death of his father came by really, really bad, and it was basically salt in his open wound, and it was bad. It was just a very, very awful, awful experience that he had. And July 23rd, 1993, James went missing on his return from a trip to visit with friends. 2 weeks later, his Lexus was found in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Back windows was busted out. His body was discovered in a creek in South Carolina, and it's been said that he was shot in the chest. And this is just like I said, your hero and your father. And this is something that Michael will always live on. And again, it is salt to an open wound, and it's very, very unfortunate that happened to Michael. And then he went towards baseball. He retired in basketball, and he wanted to try something different. Just as he and his father discussed in their last conversations, and that's what he did. He went on to play baseball for the Chicago White Sox. But you got to play catch up, but he's going to do it. Jordan, we all know he wasn't great at baseball whatsoever, and the episodes basically all kind of transpired MJ that he would need to somewhat dominate the major leagues the way he dominated an NBA. Everyone thought that. Everyone thought that he was going to come into baseball and dominate the leagues like he does in the NBA, but baseball was not his sport. We all knew that. It was just a change of scenery from everything, just to get his mind off of stuff, and it just never really worked out. He went straight to Double A, bypassing even the lower rookie and A ball classes, and basically it crushed the arrival of Jordan basically. And he hadn't played organized baseball in 14 years, and he finally wanted to give it a chance here. But in one season with the Birmingham Barons, he hit a whopping 202 and drove in 51 runs, impressing the coaches and his work ethics in his raw athleticism. So Terry Francona, back in the day, was the Barons manager. Yes, that's right, Terry Francona, the ex-Phillies, and the current Indians head coach. He had 1,500 bats, MJ, and he funneled around like $3 million a year as a basketball salary for his efforts, but he was always underpaid. He felt that he deserved more, but again, at the end of the day, he was Jordan was very competitive. Especially he might not have reached the big leagues, but he was desperate for a break with basketball, and especially the pain of his father's death, he wanted to try something different, and that's what he did. He went into baseball. And obviously, you see footage from the tour and the minors shows that he's playing ping pong, goofing around with his younger teammates. He's bringing his inner child out, and somewhat of a taller, unburdened, and like the pressures that come out of Michael Jordan. He was still acting, like an everyday guy and having fun with his teammates, despite of what has going on in his life and changing sports. But he didn't have to carry anyone on his back. That was one main thing with changing baseball. He didn't have to carry anybody. He didn't have the stress when it came to playing basketball and doing everything on his own. But he's the only guy that had to worry about making better was himself when it came to baseball. So, but at the end of the day, here the factor with MJ was just very, very thick, and it was big. Prior episodes, now, like I said, it doesn't compare to these nitty-gritty episodes now. 7 and 8, you find how Jordan was more of like a thick dude. He was more of like he was a mean dude. Example after example. He tried out to just basically satisfaction and practice. He needled everybody, calling guys quote unquote bitches, I should say, and just laughing in their faces. The tones, teammates trying to back him up to post him, not even close. He's just smirking and laughing at him. Some of his tone got really aggressive, bumping teammates' chests, laughing in their faces, like I said, and some very, very aggressive and vicious. A lot of people were saying that he was straight up annoying. MJ repeatedly makes some kind of like whooping noise in people's faces. A lot of teammates wanted to hit him. Just the way that he came back to basketball and thinking that he's a tough guy now. That was just no one really understood that. No one really understood his rationale. But you have to understand what he went through, and I understand you coming back. You're back to basketball, which is your stomping grounds, and you're supposed to be kind of sentimental to your teammates and being back to who you are, the leader that you are, but he just wanted to pick fights with everybody. And one of episode 7's more charming moments is when Jordan admits that he chuckled that no matter how hard he tried, he could not provoke the easygoing shooting guard Scott Burrell to come for him. He's a very, very nice guy. Jordan says, he's just shaking his head while he's saying this, and he even escalated with Steve Kerr at a point on a brutal foul. Kerr punched him in the chest because Steve Kerr is a little pesky, white guy that doesn't take crap from anybody. He's a little pit bull, and Kerr had enough. Punched Jordan in the chest. Jordan ended up punching Kerr in the eye. They were both tossed from practice. Jordan ended up calling Kerr to apologize. Both men agree, like it was just a relationship of unwavering trust. But listen, at the end of the day, they both trusted each other. Jordan actually trusted Kerr from this day. He earned the respect. He didn't back down from Michael Jordan. Again, he's that little pit bull that will not give up and will not take crap from anybody. Nobody should be doing that. Everyone has a freedom right to do what they want, and they should stick up for themselves. All right? Don't back down from anybody. And B.J. Armstrong, before pausing for an uncomfortable 5-6 seconds here, like, was he a nice guy? But listen, he couldn't have been nice. He had the mentality that he couldn't be a nice guy, difficult guy to be around. Obviously, just very difficult when everything is said and done here. So people were afraid of him, and basically at the end of the storyline here, the episodes basically give the dynamic best, and Bill, like I said, Bill Wennington shares Jordan's first official day back with the Bulls after coming out of retirement. The 94-95 team, unfamiliar faces. Scottie Pippen was the only lone remnant of the squad when they won back-to-back championships from 91, or I'm sorry, back-to-back, 3 in a row, 91 to 93. Basically, his 21 months playing baseball, MJ was ready to come back and take full responsibility in his real sport that he truly dominated. And look, he looked at a 7-foot-tall center and said, Bill, listen, we're finally going to get to play together. I want you to jump on the cape, but I need you to hang on. So that was very, very inspiring words from Jordan onto Wennington. And that basically wrapped up episodes 7 and 8 of Last Stand. So that was great. But here we are, moving on, talking about, let's talk about the Money in the Bank. I have none other than Gina Tucci coming back. We had a great time watching this. Gina, welcome back. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Did you have a great weekend?
I did. It was great. Thank you.
Good. So, real quick, we're going to go over Money in the Bank, which was very, very kind of dreadful to watch. To me, Money in the Bank is a main pay-per-view that I love, and a post-WrestleMania pay-per-view that you expect surprises to happen. Wrestlers that you expect wouldn't win the briefcase, and we sure got one of the two that unexpectedly won the briefcase. However, I wasn't a fan of the show. Gina, what was your outlook of Money in the Bank?
I did like it. I feel like it was a typical WWE production in that, it was just trying to top everything out. Like, I think the producers and Vince McMahon try to, go above and beyond. Hence the climbing the corporate ladder, which it like I was telling you when they were fighting in the hallways of this company, they looked so out of place.
Yeah.
really. I mean, Vince made his cameo, which was predictable. I'm not really gonna say much about that. But then, I mean, it was just kind of all the action was in these hallways and conference rooms, and they looked like fish out of water to me, to be honest. I wish they would have just had the whole thing on the roof, because that was really cool. I mean, they showed a lot of really cool sights. You could see like the cars in the background
Yeah.
on a highway,
Yeah.
and they had it pretty well protected. If anybody fell out of the rink, they weren't falling off the building. But I have to say, for Royal Rumble, and I'm sorry, what was the
WrestleMania.
No, it was WrestleMania. Excuse me, WrestleMania, and for this one, Pete and I made a bet, so the loser has to buy dinner. So you all know I lost the last time. So Pete and I's stakes were the same this time.
Yeah.
So we, as the matches started, we picked our winners, and we tied. So I consider that a win, people. I actually picked Otis to win, and I really was 100% sure he was not going to win. I just kind of got this little feeling that they might do something crazy and pick him, and he has had a little bit of a push in the recent past. So I said, what the heck, like let's pick him. And I have no idea how I won that, but I did, and I'm excited.
Well,
the women's. Let me talk about the women's real quick, Philly Pete. I'm sorry. But I picked Lacey, and I see now why they have Asuka to win, but I was really hoping it was Lacey.
Yeah, and you're a big fan of hers.
I am.
But I want to revert back to the first couple of matches that we had before the ladder match. You had the men's, the Raw Championship between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, and that was the best match by far. They both had it was a head-on-head collision between those two, like basically two rams with horns attacking each other, and that was a great match, probably the best match of the night. Like I said, you have and these guys are icons. They're legends, and it's unfortunate because throughout the entire show, pay-per-view, I mean, to me, I thought it was a house show because there was no changes. And but at the end of that match, you got some form of respect between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. You had a handshake out of respect. I did not see that coming. And to this day, I think Drew McIntyre has fought a lot of top opponents in WWE on Raw, and this was by far his best match in terms of having the belt and fighting a very, very top contender in Seth Rollins. I was very impressed with the match. The handshake at the end was very, very good. And then you had Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt, which was it was kind of a nice segment on the side where Bray thought that Braun was going to come back to rejoin his family as the Wyatt family when he had the black sheep mask on and praising Bray, but it's kind of foreshadowing. We knew that nothing was going to happen out of that. And Braun pretty much did the job, and Braun retained the SmackDown Men's Championship. So now, not a lot of whole that coming out of that. To me, I think this feud is not over though. You saw hints of the Fiend kind of flashing after the match, which makes me think that okay, Bray, you're gonna move gears now to the Fiend, and this next match might be a little bit more brutal than the first time. So we'll see. I think that's going to be a SummerSlam match. I think they're going to drag this feud on for the next 3 months until SummerSlam. And I do see the Fiend versus Braun in some sort of crazy red light match. I hope not. But to me, I think this is going to be a very dark match compared to what we saw at Money in the Bank. You had Bayley versus Tamina. No surprise, Bayley held on. I was hoping Sasha maybe would have done a baby turn at some point. But nothing there at all. And then not much happened there. The fatal 4-way for the tag team belts. New Day held on to that. So again, there was no surprises. I was kind of disappointed with how everything turned out. But I think the best segment of the night was the Hacker. And they finally kind of dug into the Hacker, he or she, for a solid 5 minutes of what we can expect from him. He's exposing, or she is exposing everyone. Word on the street is that it's too obvious to me that it's Ali because of the logo. Some people think it's CM Punk, which would be amazing. Women-wise, to me, I think Ronda could fit that need too. Either way, it's a very thin person, and I think from a women's aspect, I like to see Ronda come back, but from a guy aspect, it'd be too obvious if it was Ali. CM Punk would be pretty sweet too. Gina, what would you think who the Hacker is?
I thought it was Ali at first, obviously because of the logo and then the lights. You did mention Ronda, and I thought that would be a good way for her to come back. But I would wonder if how would she fit that truth exposer into her character? I mean, she's kind of this, punky, honest fighter who will rip your arm off. But, I don't know how that would get into, the computer techie thing. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure we'll find out. What's this, May? I'm sure we'll find out by next May who this is. They'll probably drag it out that long. So, everybody, don't hold your breath. That's all I'm going to say. Don't hold your breath.
So, hopefully we don't have to wait that long. But hopefully soon enough. It kind of makes sense that it could be a woman because, first off, I want to congratulate Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins on bringing in a child to the world. Becky did leave last night for maternity leave, and her return time is probably going to be a year and a half from now, is my guess. But this makes me think that now it could possibly be a woman behind the Hacker. Asuka was given the belt, like we saw last night. The women's Money in the Bank. I had Shayna Baszler winning the match just simply because I think she's just really dominant. Like I said, Gina had Lacey, and at the end of the day, I thought it was going to be one or the other. I could have seen Lacey cashing in on Bayley. I could have seen Shayna cashing in. But either way, it went either way, and here Asuka won. It makes sense, which was not at the end of the day. When we thought about it, it kind of made sense. Especially after the news that Becky was pregnant, she had to relinquish the belt. And Asuka, I believe, was the previous Raw Women's Championship, or champion, I should say. And you're giving it back to a very talented woman in Asuka. So she's going to hold the belt for a little while, I think. And but, no surprise there. And then the men's match. I have to say, Gina, when they were when King Corbin was throwing Aleister Black off the ledge of the building, it was kind of like... Yeah,
you were like, no way! I'm like, come on, you didn't throw them all.
Yeah, it was so funny. He fell off the ledge and you hear this little sound of falling on the ground. It sounded
like he landed on a mattress or something.
Yeah.
It was still, that part was cool.
It was great, yeah. He fell off and I think Rey Mysterio fell off, and then you had the finale where AJ Styles fumbled the briefcase and it landed in Otis's arms. Like I said, Gina picked that. It was random, and we ended up tying our bets, so no dinner for any of us.
What? No dinner?
But she got that right somehow. That was crazy. And but good for her on picking the right guy. So we'll see where it goes. I love the underdog story of Otis. He has the hot girl and Mandy, and has the woman, has the briefcase.
He's having a good year.
Yeah. So he does have a great year. Do you want to elaborate on how he might do in the future with cashing in?
That's the thing. I can't see him beating. Who is it, Braun or Drew? I can't see him. Honestly, I love I love Otis. I crack up all the time he's on.
Yes.
And but he's having a good year. But I can't see him beating them.
Yeah.
Especially with him being in a tag team. I can't. What does that mean for Tucky?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I don't know what direction they're going to go. I think Tucker. I don't know. You haven't seen much of him lately. I just think that now that he has the briefcase and he's kind of doing things on his own.
It's true. You kind of see Tucky in in the side.
Yeah.
And, in the background, which is cool. He's being a really supportive friend, but I mean, what about his career?
Exactly. And I just don't know which direction WWE is going with this. Like Gina mentioned, he has no shot on beating any of these champions. I think it's just let's give it to a random wrestler and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't surprise me if they took it away from him for some reason. But at the end of the day, I think it was just dumb, to be honest, on WWE's part to give him the briefcase when you had, I hate to say it, but you had other better competitors in that match.
Mm-hmm.
Like AJ Styles was my pick.
Right.
You had Daniel Bryan in there. Those are top caliber championship, wrestlers. Otis is not really ready for that picture yet.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
But we'll see. Anything you want to touch up on that before we talk about AEW real quick?
Just to really looking to see how it pans out for him.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if he was, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree too. So that wraps up the Money in the Bank talk. Once again, we were very disappointed in that pay-per-view. Real quick, AEW Dark tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. A 9-match card. It looks like it is actually, it's like a pre-pay-per-view until Double or Nothing on the 23rd of May, Saturday night. AEW Dark, 9 matches tonight. Real quick, Jimmy Havoc versus Luther. John Cruz versus number 10 from the Dark Order. Shawn Dean versus Colt Cabana, who I really love Colt Cabana. Musa and Lee Johnson versus none other than the Private Party. Gina, how much do I love the Private Party?
You do. They're gin and juice.
Yep.
Gin and juice. I like when they come in and the guy takes the red room.
Yeah, that's hysterical. The bouncer guy letting them in. 24 ounces of cranberry and vodka. Yeah, they're just so creative, and it's a shame we don't see him more on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy, who Gina really, really loves, versus Jason Cade. Skylar Moore versus Dr. Britt Baker, which should be a really, really good match on the women's side. Ray Phoenix versus Alan Angels. Gina's favorite, Chris Statlander versus Danny Jordan. Listen, you want to explain how she's raising the charts right now for AEW and the women's?
She is a beast.
Yeah.
She is a beast. She is just really strong, and she just throws those little women around, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, so we'll definitely tune into this tonight. And then last but not least, you have Mike Reed and Ryan Rembrandt versus the Jurassic Express. Jungle Boy Jack and the Luchasaurus into action tonight, which we haven't seen in a while either. So this is a really, really awesome card for a AEW Dark, which is you're usually getting an hour show with 3 or 4 matches. This might be like a 3-hour show tonight, which is insane. So what do you think? Are you excited for that?
I'm watching. I'm very much looking forward to watching it tonight.
Yeah. So
I'm happy we get 2 days of AEW instead of 1.
Yeah, so we have 9 matches tonight for Dark. Tomorrow, Dynamite will be on too. But I know I'm out of time. Gina, thank you so much for being on board. Anything else you want to say to the Twitterverse out there?
Just have a great rest of the week. Have a one day at a time. That's it.
That's it. Well, Gina, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that basically concludes the Tuesday, May 12th episode of Pete's Power Plays, hosted by the one, the only Philly Pete. And we were on side with the Queen on the Ice herself, Gina Tucci. Tomorrow I will be back to talk about, it's going to be a very exciting show. The NFL schedule talk, like I said, will be about a half of a segment. I don't want to go too crazy on that. But the main segment of tomorrow's show will be the Philly Pete's NFL Mock Draft 1.0 for fantasy football. Stay tuned. Get those notes ready. And then Gina will be back on Thursday. So everyone take care. Have a great Tuesday. Stay safe. Stay sanitized. The warm weather is coming. And talk to you tomorrow. Later.